Hello everyone. Hi, our guest is here, our chief guest is here. If we can take our seats. Karibu sana, karibu sana. Hello everyone. If you can hear me, clap once. If you can hear me, clap twice. If you can hear me, clap twice. If you can hear me, clap thrice. If you can hear me, high five your neighbor who you are seated with. That means you need to take your seats. Please take your seats. Let's take our seats. All right. I see you are enjoying the networking more than the food. We shall make sure to include all of you next time for a purely networking session. But today, allow us to kick off the program. So we are here to launch Crossknowledge. And I'm sure the MD of Profiles will be telling us all about that. And thank you very much for accepting to be here this morning. We appreciate you. My name is Grace Nzula. I will be the moderator for this breakfast meeting, and I hope that you will get to learn something, and something that you can implement at your workplaces, and we shall keep learning, because continuous learning is part of our job. Or rather, as human beings, continuous learning is not an option. So at this point in time, allow me to say that, do you know everyone on your table? Or have you gone back and found strangers? Are there, kuna watu wamejipox? So please say hello to your neighbor and say, it is going to be a good day. Also tell them, just ask them, what do you think cross-knowledge means? Just ask them, Apple. What do you think cross-knowledge means? I have heard someone saying that it's knowledge that's crossing over. All right. I hope they've given you good answers. And that besides that, you've also gotten to know who you're seated with. I know we tend to sit with people who we are familiar with, and that's fine. But we will do something else in the coming soon. All right, so allow me to, at this point in time, welcome all of you to this launch. It is an amazing day, and we are very, very excited. This launch is from Profiles International. Who knows what Profiles International does? Just by a show of hands. Who knows what they do? Kuna meza haina mkono hata moja. All right, so you can see the walls, you can read about Profiles, but today we are doing something special and taking this country to to higher levels because we have a responsibility, both as Kenyans and as human beings, to make the world a better place. So at this point in time, allow me to welcome Mr. Mohammed, who is the chairman of Profiles International, to welcome us all. Put your hands together for Mr. Mohammed.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you. It's a pleasure. It's an absolute pleasure to welcome you all to this exciting product launch breakfast. We are honored by your presence and that you chose to share your time with us today. Thank you. Today marks a significant milestone for our company, and we are privileged to share this moment with all of you, our valued partners, esteemed clients, and dedicated team members. Our journey to this point has been filled with innovation, dedication, and relentless pursuit of excellence. As we unveil our latest product, we are reminded of the words of Steve Jobs, and I quote, "Innovation distinguishes between a leader and a follower." This quote resonates deeply with our mission and vision, driving us to continuously push the boundaries of what is possible and in keeping with global trends and our brand promise of molding cultures. Today, we are not just launching a product, we're introducing a solution designed to meet the evolving needs of our customers and to set new standards in our industry. This product embodies our commitment to quality, creativity, and customer satisfaction. From when Profile was born and established with our Managing Director, Vicky Karuga, as a psychometric provider, it has grown significantly to be a key player in the learning and development arena. This journey has seen us launch other products such as the Geno's Emotional Intelligence brand, which is quite popular now. It has also seen our presence grow regionally in East Africa. Indeed, we have forged partnership in North Africa and are now working our way into West Africa. I want to take a moment to acknowledge and thank each one of you for your support and collaboration. Your trust and partnership are the pillars of our success, and we look forward to continuing this journey together and achieving greater heights. As we embark on this new chapter, let's celebrate our collective efforts and the bright future ahead. I invite you all to enjoy this breakfast and lunch, engage in meaningful conversation with each other, share the excitement of what's coming, network, and enjoy it. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Chairman, for having us as well and for approving that we come and get full and learn. You know, a meeting without food should be? Thank you. A meeting without food should be an email. Tusisumbuane. Right, so at this point in time, allow me to welcome Vicky Karuga, who will now give us the true meaning of what cross-knowledge is. It is not knowledge that's crossing over only. It actually crosses over and stays in your brain. So put your hands together for our MD, Vicky Karuga.
Thank you, everyone, and it is such an honor and privilege to have you with us today. I had a small presentation, if I can get my clicker. Is on? Okay, thank you. So we are very excited and besides ourselves to be here today. For those of you who we have been talking for some time, know that this has been a dream and a vision that has been, cooking. It has been in the works for maybe about 2 years. So let me start by saying, I don't know if the presentation is up, the team. Okay. So I want to start with this quote. A seeker's journey is never linear. And such has been the journey that Profiles has seen itself take. And it has been one where one thing has led to another, starting off as just having assessments, doing psychometric assessments, raising self-awareness. From my technical background, learning about human resource, having so many of you mentor me and hold my hand and get to understand these people's space has been a journey that has been very exciting and very, very filled with very many things that even as of now, we know how we got here, yet we don't know how we got here. So the journey has seen us go through emotional intelligence through our Geno's product. It has seen us support our partners here with the PXT Select for recruitment. It has seen us also develop your teams with the 5 behaviors of a cohesive team and everything DISC. And now it is going to see us also grow with you in upskilling your teams in this new world with what we're calling the Crossknowledge product. Crossknowledge stands for effective skill building. And in fact, if there's one thing that Crossknowledge has done over the last 20 years since it has been in place, is to look for the different ways that we can learn and continuously keep learning scalable, effective, and there when we need it as learners. So thinking about your people who are your greatest asset, because of course talent is the greatest asset of any business. Learning and development becomes so instrumental in driving not only engagement, because now millennials, when they get in, they're like, what are the opportunities of growth? Yeah, how can I upskill? And we know that we are not talking about upskilling is becoming such an urgent thing because every single thing is changing. Yeah, so how can you effectively upskill people at scale? Yeah, everyone has accessibility to what they need at the point of need. For example, if you are tackling a particular problem, how do you have access to the right content for you at that particular time without having to go through a whole 3-day course on emotional intelligence? Maybe what you needed is just conflict management. So that's at the point of need. And then how do you also do it cost effectively, without hiring hotels, without transporting people everywhere? And the answer, of course, is by using and utilizing the learning technology things that have come to help us in this space of EI. So we focus on outcomes, and our outcomes are, we're focusing on what do businesses need to learn. You don't need to learn everything, yeah? What does your particular business need to learn? How do people learn? So Crossknowledge focuses on how the various methods that we have. For me, I am a visual person. For you, you are possibly need more exams than I do to keep checking whether you've learned. For someone else, it's an audio book. So how do people want to learn? So it focuses on creating formats that are accessible to everyone and can impact knowledge to everyone. And then we focus on being now your trusted L&D partner that gives you the strategic guidance and counseling. So we're there to sit with you and really help you create that thing that will speak to you. So for Crossknowledge, what we have is a learning design, an effective learning design that has been time tested for the last 22 years. We have a unique recipe, we call it the HEAL model, and our HEAL model tries to drive the urgency that is required when you have a learner. Our HEAL model also sees the learner as a client. So every single person in your organization who needs to be trained is your client if you're in learning and development. So what do you need to do to engage that person so that they actually take your course? So you're selling them. You're selling them development. You're selling them training. Yeah. So what kind of formats are great for you? Is it the mobile learning app for people who are traveling? They want to learn in a matatu with earphones. Is it someone else who has an iPod? What kind of format is that? Is it a PDF? Is it a quick tips? And then how can we anchor the real world into it? So for Crossknowledge, one of the things that we do effectively is put the managers as mentors in the system, so that as they are learning, there is a point of reference that can then be able to give them input at that particular time on what it is that they're learning. So you're not just handling it from a human resource or L&D place. You have trickled it down to the person who's actually going to see this person every day, and you can give feedback either through the system or through a coaching methodology. So again, not to toot the horn of Crossknowledge, but you're in the right place, you have the right team. There have been several awards won because of just the LMS system that we have. The content that we have is world class, as you know. We have a few brochures that will circulate around from top thinkers around the world. And we have also won, of course, awards globally. But what Crossknowledge has done, and this is now where we differentiate ourselves from the market, is that we no longer focus on what we call level 1. In the world of digital learning, and with how we have been accessing and growing and learning about digital learning, there are levels of maturity when it comes to organizations. And the first level, of course, is just access to content. So you have a system, you give people content, they go in there, they pick the content that they have. So it's like a menu, so to speak, yeah? But then the second level of digital maturity is when now you move to what we call integrated learning experiences. And as you can see, this is where Crossknowledge is trying to grow the market, meaning that it doesn't matter that you already have an LMS. It doesn't matter that you already have programs. What we want to do is to come sit down with you and design a program that is speaking to a particular business need. Whether that program takes 2 weeks, whether it takes 9 months, it will be a program that is for you and useful to you. And so it becomes an integrated learning experience using, of course, what I'm saying, the content that is there. What do you want to say? Is it a cultural change? Are you trying to impart some certain values? Are you trying to possibly work through with some high potential? So whatever that is. And this is a space that we really want to play when it comes to helping you be able to upskill and reskill the people that you're working with. We have great thinkers, top 50 thinkers, all the people who I guess you've been seeing on YouTube. But even more dear to my heart is the fact that we have also chosen to grow what we're calling the Profiles Academy. And the Profiles Academy will be hosted by Crossknowledge. This will feature people in business, experts in business. Right now, I think you'll see a video by Mary Mokindia. She's one of our faculty. Derek Banga here has agreed to be one of our faculty. We have Mary Kinywa at the back there, who's also doing a course for emerging leaders. So we want to also take local knowledge, package it in a world-class platform, and be able to deliver it to our people. That means you're getting local solutions. You're getting someone who looks like me, to tell you something, so you're connecting already. And maybe not just that, but being able to speak to what's currently happening, I think will be a great game changer when it comes to our access to digital content that is relevant for us. Yeah. And so with that, meet the faculty. That is Mary Kinya. I think we should clap for her. I call them the guinea pigs, because we're doing this thing together and also working out how it's really going to work. We have Mary, who's not here, but she's with us in spirit. And then we have Derek. Derek has always, he's one of our generous practitioners. He's always like, yeah, let's do this. So the three of them, we have about 3 more who could make it today, and they're part of the Profiles Academy, and we hope by the end of the year we will have grown significantly. And I was telling our chief guest here that in 5 years, it is my sincere hope that Profiles will be a contender in the space of providing content, relevant content in the African continent. So, of course, yours truly. So these are some of the partners that we've worked with internationally. Locally, I know Irene can confirm that Total, the LMS that they use is actually a Crossknowledge brand. We have, of course, Carrefour. We have the rest of the global brands here that are using the platform as it is. And now, of course, we are here to make sure that you have access to it as and when you need it. Locally, we have worked with APA Insurance. They've been generous enough for us to also be a guinea pig, but we've supported their programs using the Crossknowledge platform. So these are just some key examples of programs we've run, but I'm sure those, I can come and do a presentation to you at a later date and let you know what that says. So I think with that, my closing remarks, closing, once the phone opens, is that automation has created what we call the double disruption scenario for workers. And in addition to the current disruption, technological adoption by companies will transform tasks, will transform jobs and skills. 43% of businesses surveyed in various surveys say that they are set to reduce their workforce. But what we're saying is, why don't we reskill our workforce instead of taking them and laying them off because they don't have the necessary skills? So organizations have to start preparing on how they will keep these people, these employees, but keep them relevant to what's happening. And we think that these kind of initiatives will allow you to be able to have the continuous development learning that is required to keep people relevant in the workplace. So without further ado, let me thank you so much for giving me this time to tell you about Crossknowledge. And should you want any more information, of course, we're always there to give you more information. Asante sana.
Let me request you to not leave the stage. And congratulations. Please welcome the chief guests.
Sorry, that was a slight head up. So this gentleman that I'm about to introduce, Ambassador Mushiri, is, there are many things I could say about him. I will say what is being read first. He is the chairperson of the Public Service Commission of Kenya since December 2021. He has been a career administrator and diplomat with extensive experience in international affairs, diplomacy, public administration, and human resource. And he joined the service and rose in the ranks as an inspector, assistant secretary of ministry, broadcasting assistant secretary, working in the Ministry of Affairs, and then to the chef de cabinet. Have I pronounced it right? To the head chef de cabinet, and to the head of public service. And he has also been instrumental in being a brainstorm around what is it that we can do when it comes to the public sector as well. He's also a personal friend, and I am happy to have him, and I'm honored that he has agreed to be today's chief guest. Please let me help me welcome Ambassador Anthony Mushiri.
A good morning to you all. Good morning. Yeah, still morning, very early in the morning. Now, I wish to recognize everybody here. Thanks for keeping the faith to come and launch this Crossknowledge. And support Vicky and her team in this noble endeavor. When I got this invitation, and this morning I was having a discussion with Vicky, and I asked her, what kind of audience am I expecting? I see a few familiar faces here. When the chairman rose to give his opening remarks, I saw he had a written speech, and I said, oh, okay, good. That's fine by me. We are coming from the same school, because nowadays when we are seen carrying these papers, everybody says we are old school. See what I'm saying? And further conversation I had with Vicky this morning about this dream of ours, which starts today. And I told her dreams are important for all of us. And even more important about dreams is to make them happen. Because you cannot continue dreaming forever. Why? Because you're not going to wake up. You'll still be asleep. So dreams are important because you have to make your dreams happen. When I was a young diplomat in 2001, and I told Vicky that in Geneva, I just arrived in January 2001, 2002, in the middle of a winter storm, very cold, snow up to here. And every time I used to go to the office, I was working with a mission in the UN, Kenya Embassy. There was this big billboard. All of us know what Daimler is. Daimler, the makers of Mercedes-Benz. Now there was this big billboard. Every day, come snow, come sunshine, that said, with a nice Mercedes. Those of you remember the Mercedes, the E200s that had the round lights, double. It used to say, stop dreaming, drive it. And you know, me and a colleague of mine, this used to rankle us. Every day you're in a train or in a tram, stop dreaming, drive it. I was telling Vicky, at the end of my tour, I drove it. And my friend drove it. And this is why we are here today. Because Vicky has decided to stop. She's driving it, yeah? Now, I looked at the content today. And by the way, Vicky, and Profiles International is a partner with the Public Service Commission in a more indirect way, because the partner with the Kenya School of Government, and my commission is a council member at the Kenya School of Government. So I do hope that this partnership will continue. But more to the point of why we are here today, and my written speech, my PA is here. Where is he, Mustafa? I was reading, he's a deputy director in my office, and we work closely. Please sit. And also I have Stephanie Ndiko. They sat down and looked at the contents that were supposed to assist me in this work this morning. And I was reading some articles in the course of this week. And by the way, every time you open a newspaper today, or anything that you read, there is this issue of digital technology. That's why we are here today. Yesterday, the Business Daily had 2 articles on digital technology. And very, very important, artificial intelligence. Because that's where we are going. AI. My good man here will soon be obsolete. In the future. Because we have artificial intelligence that is creating, coalescing immense data and making machines, computers out of our brains, because they coalesce all your data, all your behaviors, the patterns you are thinking. And now we have the Alexas and the Siris. They think, they know your preference in food. They know your preference in movies. They are aware of cognitive text. They produce music. They make movies. They are diagnosing and treating diseases. This is where digital learning is going. And this is where we are linking cross-knowledge and public service on this issue. Because artificial intelligence is the future. Some of us, when these movies, you remember the Terminator, iRobot, Matrix, years back, 25 years ago, and the Terminator series, trilogy, Genesis, Terminator Genesis, iRobot, Will Smith. We thought these things could not happen, but they are with us here today. Am I right? Yeah. We were just enjoying the movies, but the makers in Silicon Valley, which is also the home of Hollywood, knew this would come to happen. That time it was fiction. But also those people are dreamers. It's not fiction anymore. We are with AI. It's moving so fast. Profiles International, you have to keep abreast of it. Most countries, developed countries, the US and the UK, have almost stopped AI with laws. because it's going to take over the world. Goldman Sachs did a research, said 300 million jobs are at risk in the next 5 to 10 years. 300 million. In administration courses, management, HR, architecture, all these are going to go. Where are we going to be? So, let me read my speech. And tell you where we are. And say that I'm delighted to be here this morning. And I'm going to tell you what we are going to do as a Public Service Commission. Because Crossknowledge is all about upskilling and reskilling. If there is a service that needs reskilling and upskilling, is the service that I preside over, the public service. Continuous learning, continuous reskilling. Recently there was this conversation which happened during the 90s, late 80s and 90s, when the IMF came into town and a lot of public servants were laid off. Good workers. Nobody thought to reskill these people. Nobody thought of us upskilling them. A lot of people, maybe some of you are here, those who are your parents, they were just thrown out. Then they had good education, they had good skills, they had good competencies. But somebody sitting in Washington thought that we were too many. And people were laid off twice in the 90s. Why? It's because we didn't have the cross-knowledge, the profiles, the companies, and the leaders that could stand against what these people are saying and what needed to be done. And that only happened in the third administration of President Mwai Kibaki. What did he do? He came and hired the same number of people that had been kicked out. He introduced performance management. Maybe that's what these people didn't have. He introduced training, which is what we are listening to here this morning. The skilling, the upskilling. And not only did he hire the same number of people that had been kicked out, he even added more. What happened to the economy? Everybody knows what happened. It shot up. Prospered like it had never prospered before. Because government, public service was doing what it's supposed to do. Creating the correct environment for the private sector, you people seated here, to create wealth. And when you create wealth, you employ. Because my public service is a service bureau, it's not an employment bureau. And that's what I keep telling people. It is you people in the private sector. You are the creators of wealth. And when you create wealth, you employ the vast majority of Kenyans who are out there, the youth who have no jobs. And for me, that is very important, because that is what I intend to do. Sitting here for about 26 months on this job, and about close to 39 years in the public service, which is too long. I'll stop sharing my CV because it makes me feel that I've done my part. But when I sit back, I think about my career, and my good friend sitting there will tell you that about 10 years ago, was it 10 when we were in class together? It's 12 years ago. I was Kenya's ambassador to not Cuba, Libya. And there was a war in Libya. And there was quite a lot of amount of time on my hands. Mustafa was my officer in Tripoli. And the civil war was raging. And so as diplomats, we didn't have anything to do. So I decided to do my MBA. And I used to fly from Libya once every 3 months to Pan-Africa to do my MBA with the USIU, a global executive. What was I doing? I was rescaling myself. I'm a diplomat. But I needed to go into what we, as a State Department of Foreign Affairs, had decided to do then. Move from political diplomacy to economic diplomacy. Because the Cold War was over, though it's coming back very fast. That's what I was doing. And that's what we should do, continuous learning. So last night, I was telling myself, I'm being invited to too many events, like this one as a chief guest, whose content is digital. I just came from the UK to talk about at the Commonwealth Secretariat integrating digital technology in human resource. And I said, no, I need to go back to school, even if it's for 4 weeks, to read about IT, because IT is moving so fast. And when you buy something small, like an iPhone, it has a 50-page booklet, and you can't read the booklet. You need now to be able to be conversant with that phone. And that's where we are today. But what has government done and Public Service Commission to try and link our theme today of upskilling and upscaling? The government has done its part because, as I said, the government is supposed to create the necessary environment. 100,000 kilometers of fiber optic, about 1,500 Wi-Fi hotspots all over the country, about 247 hubs and Huduma centers in every constituency. We are yet to get to 240 to all the constituencies, but we have about 247 iHubs. And also make IT accessible to schools. When this was started, the laptops for schools, it also seemed like a big joke, but it's important to have our young people gain this knowledge and to integrate this learning. Nowadays, as a Public Service Commission, we don't have to call people for interviews physically. We do it online. Soon, with AI will be doing the interviews because they just need to call this. All the contents that we have. When you go to our airports, when you're coming in, you meet all these immigration officers. In the future, you'll not meet a robot chewing gum. You might meet an immigration officer. Sometimes I get very annoyed. Chewing gum. That's the image you get of the country as a first timer in this country. And you are going to live with that image. But with AI, that will be done. So My point here today, much as we are upskilling and reskilling, let's do it the correct way and the right way, and also looking at the downsides of what this digital technology has brought us. The cyber threats, cyber terrorism, the hurt that it can bring to our borders. It's part of all this, the weaving around that we are doing. So, for me, I'm not going to stand here and read a speech up to the end that's going to spoil your morning. But what I'm going to do is to leave you with those thoughts that I've just told you about. I know my people are going to be annoyed because they really worked on this. But speeches are about that. They give you ideas. So you source ideas from those speeches and tell the people what you think, and that is what I think. And I wish to thank Vicky for making a dream come true, and thank you, all of you, for being here this morning. Thank you, and very much. God bless you.
Let's stand and have a standing ovation for the ambassador as we clap for him as we take the chair. Thank you. And you can take your seats for 2 minutes. Allow me to request, Mr. Ambassador, if you can come back and allow us to request the guys. Do you have a question for him? He has told us what we need to do for what he's doing for the country. So, do you have a question for the ambassador? You know, it's not many times you get the opportunity to meet Chairman PSC and the ambassador. So, any question for the ambassador? Ambassador, did not talk about your study. I was looking forward to that.
Which study?
The one that you just did.
The MBA?
On digital learning.
I haven't done it.
Oh, okay.
I need to do it. Yeah.
Excellent.
Because that will be now what we are talking about here this morning. Before I get invited for the next, maybe I'll come here to Profiles International, or invite them to come and do some cross-knowledge for us, some branding for us. I can see the expert brander here, and protocol issues. I'm here to do it. But I'm glad to respond to any questions that might be sent my way, if I'm able to.
Okay.
Yeah.
So let me ask the first question.
There's one.
Oh, there's one here.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you, Ambassador. My name is Raymond. I'm the acting CEO in the Bankers Association. We created a very good framework with the counties. So, sitting at the public service, what's your strategy on just being able to streamline the public service within the counties to be able to actually serve the purpose for which counties were created? Because the human element within the counties is actually letting us down. Thank you.
You know, talking about counties nowadays is an extremely challenging subject. We were discussing it with Vicky here this morning, and the CEO of the Institute of Human Resource Management will tell you. I think she's worked more with counties than I have, but from where I sit, when devolved government was set up, the thought, the idea was good. It was an excellent idea because it was devolving services to the people. The question nowadays, which has many answers, is Did this work? My answer is no, in terms of HR. Constitutionally, my relationship as a Public Service Commission comes in the county public, the county public servants. Because anytime there is a disciplinary issue or they are dismissed, the first line of call as an appeal before they go to the Employment and Labor Relations Court is a Public Service Commission. Now, what happens every cycle, every 5 years, when we have new governors who come in? The first thing they do is they come in with a horde of people. Some good, very few. Significant hordes of people. Then they realize that money is central, comes from Treasury, because they have stopped looking for their own source revenue. So what do? They sack the people who were there previously. Now that's where the problem starts. And the first induction I did for the current cohort of governors in 2022, when they were sworn in, they had an induction in Mombasa. And I told them, you sack these people, I will return them. And they were very annoyed. But that's the truth. Because these are public servants. When you come to the governor's mansion and you find the lawn is manicured very well, and it's being done by somebody who is about 50 years old, his or her job is to manicure that lawn, water the flowers, keep the governor's mansion governable, fit for the governor. Then you come with your own gardener and sack this person. Why are you doing that? This is a Kenyan. This is a public servant. The lawn is clean. So I return them. They go to the court, Employment and Labor Relations Court. They are returned because we have a 100% success rate in the HR function in counties. So we have a problem with counties, and it's a problem that is about leadership. Simple. And until we have good leaders in the counties who realize what devolved government is all about, my good friend, that challenge, the HR challenge, because governing is about human resource, that problem will continue in the foreseeable future. But we have good counties who have shown exemplary leadership, and they are doing the job that is supposed to be done. Yeah. Yep.
Morning, Chair. My name is Winnie Ngumi, Managing Director, Space and Style. I also chair a public sector board. I have a question. Now that the PCs are being converted to focus on outcomes and productivity, and with the increased digitization being our focus for government, are you seeing public service starting to adopt remote working models? Are people going to start having to work at home just as a strategy to reduce on wage bill and now to get more productivity and outcomes?
Working at home is here with us. It's here to stay. And I do agree with you, because when you're measured on output and productivity, it doesn't matter where you sit, whether you're sitting at home and whether you're sitting in the office. And if you're producing at home, why do we need to pay rent for that particular office? Why do you need to provide other associated benefits that come with going to the office? That's where we are heading. It happened. It was forced on us by COVID, and it's here to stay. It is something that we have to change in the public service, and it has to be done with foresight. And change normally is very difficult, and sometimes change is forced, like we were forced by COVID. But this is something that will happen, and this is something that we will now increase the productivity in the service. I agree with you, it's going to happen. And maybe under my watch, maybe not under my watch, but I hope it happens under my watch. Yeah.
All right, we can take the last question, I guess. Okay, 2 last questions.
Good morning, Ambassador.
Morning.
My name is Peter Gakina, running a HR consulting firm, Talent Diagnostic Center. My questions on diversity and inclusion. Just want to know what initiative the Public Service Commission is driving to incorporate diversity and inclusion in public sector. By some of the media stories I have read about recruitment being skewed towards one community or 2 communities taking 70% of recruitment. Thank you.
You know, thank you for that question. It's a question that's at the heart of the Public Service Commission. And it is a question that when I was vetted for my job, I was asked, and I responded to that question in Parliament. There are 2 articles in the Constitution that are normally very much ignored by Kenya. And maybe I might ask you, you know these 2 articles? You don't know them. But you have asked a question related to this. It's Article 10 of the Constitution, and there is Article 232, which falls under my jurisdiction. Now, these articles talk about what you're talking about. And the elements of that article is about merit, is about gender, it's about diversity, it's about PWDs, it's about marginalization. Now, when we talk about 2 communities being overrepresented, what we are doing as a Public Service Commission, we have realized this is historical, that overrepresentation. And you cannot sack a person because he is this tribe or this tribe. It has to come through natural attrition. Because these people who you find are permanent and pensionable. So I'm not going to come and say you're a Luo, get out. No. But through natural attrition is what now we are trying to balance, that inclusivity. And to say, no, we need to ensure the 5% threshold on PWDs. We need to ensure that we have more Rendiles, that we have more Sabauts, that we have more Mberes within the threshold of their population. But then, when we are interviewing for these positions, the first element in Article 232 is merit. But through the other actions that we call affirmative, you might have people who are overrepresented scoring 90, where the scoring mark is maybe 70. And you find that you have these underrepresented people. You lower the marks to about 40. Because maybe they didn't go to a good school. You've seen Lake Baringo Rising people going to school with canoes. Others walk to school. Others go silver spoon ahead of all the others. So people are different, communities are different. So the only way you can have this inclusivity is to look at the dynamics of the four borders of this country and where you live in, and ensure you do those affirmative actions. What we do in our commission, mandated by the Constitution, is we prepare a report every year. It's called Values and Principles Report. I provide, and you can find it, by the way, in our website. That Values and Principles Report gives a breakdown, and it's the one that is used in the media, what you're talking about. Gives a breakdown of all what we are talking about in Article 10 and 232 in the entire jurisdiction of the taxpayers' institutions, people who are funded by the taxpayer, constitutional commissions, and the state corporations, SACAs, and the civil service. And it reflects what you're talking about. And that's why it's out in the open. And I'm answering, I respond to these questions every day, even in Parliament, in the committees of national cohesion. But it is a progressive exercise that we are doing. Personally, I'm a cosmopolitan, and when I sit here, I'm proud to say my PA is from Isiolo. My driver is a Maasai. My two secretaries, one is a Sabaot, the other one is from Kitui. Because these are the people I find they are competent, they are skilled. I don't look at where you're coming from. And if we can work like that, then what we're talking about, even what we are talking about, cross-knowledge and reskilling and upskilling, that is the motivation that we need, and training. But if we live in our own silos, in our own cocoons, we are done. Article 10 and 232. There was another question there.
You, allow me to break protocol. I think, Ambassador, you answered that question, but I wanted to add something, and allow me to address my good friend here. He mentioned about the report, but when we receive it, because we undertake that report, is that you're told that this is what you're doing right, this is what you need to improve. And I want to address the HR professionals here. We mistake instructions, directions, and advisory. So when you are recruiting, you need to take advantage of that report, because you already see you have overrepresentation from the short list to the long list. So I want to bounce the ball back, especially to those who are in boards and the HRs in the public sector. It is your responsibility to clearly break down that report for your boards, for your management, for them to implement it. And then we will all get there. So I want to make sure that that's what we're driving at IHRM now, that the HR professionals within the ministries, the counties, ensure that there is implementation of those reports. It's not just about collecting data. Thank you. I thought that was important.
And maybe one more issue that I might add is that the Public Service Commission does not have enforcement powers. That's why this report is presented to the President and to Parliament. Because where I sit, if the judiciary or the Teachers Service Commission is overrepresented, I don't have enforcement powers if they are not following those tenets of the two articles I mentioned about. If the TSC, if the Parliamentary Service Commission, the Judicial Service Commission, if they are not following this, the only people with sanctionary powers is the President and the legislature. And that's why I present these two reports to them. Thank you. Yeah, I think there was one more question.
I do not. Who has a question? Time does not allow. I'm trying to manage these two ladies here because I know Ambassador needs to leave shortly, and we have a panel discussion coming in. So I guess we can take the questions there. Please put your hands together for the Ambassador, and thank you for indulging us. Thank you for indulging us. I know we veered off cross-knowledge, but sometimes we like to do that, to even understand where the country is going, yeah? We have a collective responsibility to support the systems that are in place. to drive forward. Good morning, everyone. You're soaking in knowledge. Eh? It is crossing from the ambassador to you. It is cross knowledge. Please, Ebu, tell your neighbor what you have picked from the ambassador's speech. We are about to get to the meat of why we came in today. Article 232 and 210 and Article 10 of values and principles. All right, there is a table there. You guys are not talking. You're supposed to discuss. Yes, you're supposed to discuss. Stop drilling and that one I even tweeted already. Have you tweeted, by the way? Are you on Twitter? Please make sure the photographers get better photos of you. We need cross knowledge to be trending on LinkedIn. Everyone needs to be talking about cross knowledge. So I hope that you have taken good. Okay, our photographer for sure has taken good photos. But are you tweeting? What else? What's the other quotable quotes? Upskill to survive. Chris, you are not in this class. I'm just picking on you. All right, media team, are we ready? Because we're getting to the meat of this, why we're here this morning. And please high five your neighbor and tell them cross knowledge to you. Cross knowledge to you. Huyo mwingine the other side. Cross knowledge to you. I like the way you're cross-knowledging. So what is cross-knowledge? Let me just ask. What is cross-knowledge? I have a gift for you. I probably will give you a night for two at Sankara. Joking. But who understands, who picked what cross-knowledge is? Who can tell us? A learning platform, to learn what? Skills. How do you learn?
Wherever you are. At your pace, wherever you are.
At your pace? To your point of need. I was looking for that one. Yeah, all right. I will think about it. But yes, we will give you something from Profiles International for sure. Even if you get 2 cups.
I'd like to request that they make a comment.
You want to make a comment? Okay. Okay.
Thank you very much. My name is Dr. Priska Oluoch from the Kenya School of Government. I just want to say that we are very happy to be in this forum as the school, and also to let Ambassador know that the Kenya School of Government is not only in the house, but that the Kenya School of Government, together with the Public Service Commission, is actually at the forefront of what is happening in this space. Ambassador, I'm here this morning with our Director, Academic Affairs, Dr. Josephine Mwanzia, and our Deputy Director in charge of the e-learning Center, Vera Obonyo. So the school is here, heavily represented, and ready to take this forward. We are happy that we will have your support. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Leading from the front, asante sana. So ladies and gentlemen, the moment we've all been waiting for, I would like to request our chief guests and the panelists to join us here to officially launch Cross Knowledge, and the faculty as well. If you can join us kindly. Mr. Mohammed, you have to join us. You're the leadership. We are launching you. So please join us here at the photo booth, if you may. Yes, Mary Kresha, please join us. Vicky Banga, you're also part of them. Patricia, how do you sit? And we give you tea. Honestly, we just want to ride on your brand. But yes, please join us. And Bobby, and the lovely. You know, Bobby gives me work from NRT, so I'm also kujitetea. Yes, so you can join us. Rose, are we there? So we wanna. So we can take that photo, and then we can also, we will be turning, and all of us will face the bigger balloons to launch. I just wanted that photo with the big balloons. Now we could kindly turn and face the other side. Rose, you can give us the scissors. Yes, the scissors. They are coming there. And Ambassador, you can move closer. You can move closer to the balloons. Yes, there. And Vicky. Yes, everyone can. All right, and everyone else, you need to be at an angle. Before you cut, I have not given you permission to do anything. All right, so if you can come on this side. Yes, come on this side. Yes, you need to be at an angle to support, yes, please do not. And everyone else in the room, please help me with the countdown. Huh? Yes. Midi, are we ready? Yes. Are we ready? Yes. Everyone in the room, are we ready? Yes. Are we ready for Crossknowledge? Are we ready? All right, so let's go. 5, what is it? 4, 3, 2, 1. Thank you, congratulations, congratulations. Those balloons, please cut the balloons again. Yes, you can go the others. Done. Rose. Yes, up. The balloons are supposed to fill the room. And then they are invisible. Yes, that's the idea. Then you release them. Yeah. Excellent. So congratulations, and you can now take your seats. Officially, Crossknowledge and Profiles Academy is launched. Thank you very much. Thank you for taking the driver's seat, Vicky. So congratulations, Vicky and team. And for all of us, it's a challenge that we take advantage of the learning opportunities that have been set forth to be able to upskill and reskill our teams. So at this point in time, I wish to help. Where is the Marvin's Profiles team? If you can get this podium out of here. We need to get into the panel discussion and also unpack a few things. Yes, if I can get this out of here. Thank you. Yeah. And we would wish, as we do that, we wish to get the ambassador's appreciation package.
Facilitated learning program for Crossknowledge. This 3-hour course takes place over 4 weeks and will empower people to find their voice and develop their leadership style through a facilitator-led and support-based course. Leaders gain access to transfer leadership content and engage in collaborative activities to learn how to better support their teams and effectively drive key business outcomes. Experienced facilitators become members, voice, and collaborators
Allow me to request Mr. Ambassador. You can, Vicky, and Mr. Mohammed, yes, please come and present this to our chief guests. Here, the photo booth. The photo booth here.
Middle managers, funds, keep the wheels turning, day in and day out. From the lobbyist and coalition builder to motivator and operational leader, your managers wear many hats. But it's a difficult environment. Challenging and never
Absolutely.
Give managers the support they deserve.
And a package from profiles as well.
Grab from Crossknowledge.
All right, thank you, Ambassador. Thank you for your time. Allow us to quickly move on to the panel. If you can hear me, please clap once. If you can hear me, clap once. If you can hear me, clap twice. If you can hear me, clap twice. I still don't have the attention of everyone. If you can hear me, clap twice. If you can hear me, clap thrice. Yes, I'm looking at you. All right, so let's go on to the panel discussion. We have three panelists with us this morning who will help us unpack digital learning. And the first person to come up on stage is Mr. David Segawa. Mr. David Segawa is a Ugandan and a seasoned business and human capital management leader, having provided strategic thought direction as a human resource director at some of the leading global multinational organizations, including Unilever East Africa, East and Southern Africa, Standard Bank of South Africa, and Coca-Cola East, West, and South Africa, among others. He's currently the group HR at Equity Bank Holdings. Equity Group, and he's the founder and first president of the Human Resource Managers Association of Uganda. Ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together for David Segawa. Please take a seat. So we have the next panelist is Madam CHRP Kuresha Abdullahi. She is the Executive Director at the Institute of Human Resource Management. She is Certified Human Resource Professional, the highest HR certification in Kenya. She is also a certified HR auditor with over 15 years experience in both local, regional, and global human resource management. She has served as the IHRM Northeastern Vice Chairperson and has played a critical role in the success and establishment of the branch. Kuresha is passionate about people and his commitment to inspiring teams to do more and have an impact in everything they do. Ladies and gentlemen, put your hands for Kuresha Abdullahi. We have a third panelist, Madam Mary Kenywa. Mary is a wonderful HR. She's actually part of the faculty for Profiles International. So congratulations, Mary, for that bold move and for the support we got from as Profiles. But she's a professional background. She has a professional background in economics and statistics, and she considers herself highly skilled in business relationship development and maintenance, risk modeling and data analysis, people and resource management, leveraging allocated resources and time to achieve optimal results. She's worked in financial or banking, NGOs, consumer and industrial markets, among other places. She loves working with people and put them at the center of what she does. She thrives in taking up challenges and strives to win. Ladies and gentlemen, let's appreciate Mary Kenywa as she comes up on stage.
Is that me? I don't think so.
All right, so allow us to unpack digital learning with these panelists, and I hope that you're preparing with your questions so that then we get to institutionalize digital learning in our spaces, but getting to understand better what it is and how we can work and contribute to the development of our nation. So allow me to start off with the man, because we have too many ladies. So we'll put you on the spotlight first.
Sure.
And so what are the key indicators of success when it comes to digital learning?
Thank you. Great question there. Good morning, everybody. Good morning. Good to be here to have this conversation. So, digital learning. I think it's one of those terms we love to use lately. But until we step back and say, actually, what does success really look like behind digital learning, is when you realize maybe we need to keep exploring, and we are really on an exploration journey to really get it to work for us. But let me put it this way. First, learning itself has evolved, even before digital. And I think it's important we appreciate very quickly that we are now looking at learning as a lifestyle, not as an activity. And if that's the case, then it's really about saying, and so how do we make it relevant more and more through digital? And so we are seeing a couple of things. Number one, we realize that people no longer have time to go to classroom. They don't. They're very busy people. So they want to be in the field if you're a salesman. If you're learning on the go. That's number one. But number two, who has time to go through a course of 1 hour, 2 hours? Or a classroom of a full day? Nobody. You only want a piece of information, knowledge which you need to solve a problem, whether in your field or you're in a meeting. And so you need learning bites. And how do you best get those, apart from digital? So again, you realize that digital can only be the critical enabler to give that kind of configuration. But even more so, I think training calendars are no longer fashionable. Who cares about a training calendar for a year? We're talking about zero-based learning now, to the extent that as we talk about learning organizations, you also talk about learning individuals who know that I want knowledge not as an end in itself, but as a means. And so I want a digital solution which will enable me to figure out my learning program for that week, for that day, because there's a problem I'm going to solve. So digital really gives you that capability, if you want. Thank you.
Wow. So we want to learn from anywhere. So Kuresha, how can a company start developing a digital learning strategy? What are some of the key elements that we can include?
Thank you. I think it's important, as he said, it's about the space and what you're doing. And allow me to unpack this. First of all, you need to understand which business are you in? Because content is key here, because you must focus on one thing. Then you need to look at the relevance. Don't do it because everyone else is doing it. You have to make sure and see how is it relevant to the business and that space. And I want to use the word business because there is a misconception that business is only for those in private sector. Even for us in the public sector, we are in business. Now when you live from relevance, you need to look at what is the reliability of your content. Like he said, are you going to say because I have this calendar I'll stick to it, or it's going to be agile, that 3 months from now if things change, then your content can be relied on, okay? And then accessibility is key. And I speak let me use the word, now I remove the hat of the ED, but a girl from the north, that when I came to Nairobi, if I had the online opportunities that are available now, I strongly believe I'll even be in a higher space than I am right now. So how accessible, depending on your market, because we tend to create content that is just within a certain market. Can someone actually, without replicating what you've developed, can someone actually benchmark with you what are your best practices, and then make sure that that is accessible to a larger scale, whether you're a bank which has like Equity, different branches, or some upcoming banks like Diamond Trust Bank, which are just concentrated on major towns. So that is also something else that I would add. And then standard is key. What are the standards that you've set in your content and the creation? And then, let me use the word, the culture sensitivity. You creating this content, the strategies based on what is happening around us, but then let's not overborrow. Like Vicky said, we want to receive more African faces, but just because the Westerns are driving an agenda, are you going to start telling us, when you're going to ask me to fill my gender, you're going to give me male, female, and then you add their other? I'm just being realistic, yeah? So it's also that cultural sensitivity on the where we are. But over and above, it's also the integrity and the ethics of your content creators, okay? So there are two things here. There is the Croatia, the mom at home. When you're setting those strategies, you should be able to separate the two. So which one are we coming for? Is it the character development one or the executive one who will tell us about HR, leadership and governance? Thank you.
Wow. Are we together? Yes. We are following. Hello? Yes. All right. So to you, Mary, you have done something for your faculty. What is your own vision, personal vision on digitizing content, and how do you see this space of authors really creating parts?
Okay, so first of all, I'm very proud of myself. I'm not sure about you all. For being faculty. So I have a lot of, I don't know, I've not had it onto the Strathmore Business School, but I feel strongly that professional Now, I wrote a book 2 years ago about emerging leadership, which was purely born out of coaching. So I'm an executive coach myself. So I coached people during the COVID era, and from just having interactions with leadership, I realized that there is really an imposter syndrome for emerging leaders, all leaders. So I put that on an article on LinkedIn and then converted it into a book. Then I met Vicky, and Vicky said, why can't we convert it into a course? And I love it, because I love imparting knowledge, I love transferring myself. This is what I'm actually giving back to the society. I did my leadership training in Strathmore, in Nanyang in Singapore, and every single lecturer who trained us was actually a market leader. So it was a marketing director of Coke who's coming to speak to us about the ASEAN market. Then the next time I landed in Kenya, I actually had my doctorate class with Dr. Kobonyo. Professor Kobonyo. All respect to Professor Kobonyo. But he had the thingy where you put on a flat thing and then it shows on the wall. I don't know what they call it. But that was like a week after I'd come back from Singapore, and it really crushed my heart, you know, in terms of just transfer of real-time knowledge into the real world to support our real leaders that are coming up for businesses. So for me, this platform actually really does provide all of us who call ourselves the gurus of whatever it is field we're in to transfer ourselves to the next generation, to the current generation, and hopefully to change this particular world for a much better world.
Amazing, amazing. And congratulations. Yes. So, probably to David, some of the challenges, I mean, we live in Kenya. Did you see the blackouts and the slow internet and I have no idea what? If I had signed up for digital learning, how would I survive? What are the challenges associated with digital learning in most organizations today?
Wow, good question there. I think one of the challenges is the fact that many organizations are, first of all, flying blind on the why, the what, and the how of learning. And I think one of the real opportunities coming up for anybody putting up these learning platforms is to think big and go big on AI and machine learning. Because what you want is to be able to say, based on individuals' critical data points, their age, the gender, you know, at what point they are in their career, and performance track record, etc. You should be able to have predictive data that would inform the best configuration of the blended learning mix this individual needs for them to either progress along their learning pathways or progress in their career pathways. I think there is some intersectionality there of learning with other key HR processes. That's why we need to start thinking integrated learning management. But what's happening is, because you don't have real data points that can connect and help you predict the right decisions on individuals and teams, then most organizations are running blind. I think they are looking for a provider of solutions that are driven by data and in a predictive way. Secondly, I think organizations are also trying to figure out what's the best way of customizing solutions that enable them to win in the marketplace that day, real time. While the individuals of the team are also looking for opportunities for personalization of those solutions which talk to the aspiration, but also the problem they're trying to wrestle on that particular day. So there is a huge opportunity there for organizations to reimagine what will be the picture of success around digital learning solutions that are really fit for purpose. Lastly, again, putting it lightly maybe, is making learning human. Because we spend a lot of time designing solutions for skills and competences which we know don't belong to the future of work, because machines are going to do them. So why do we even provide those solutions? Why even load them on the ELMS? I think we should be talking about what are those solutions which can be customized or personalized or innovated, or rather created around three critical areas: creativity, innovation, and productivity. Because those are the differentiators for a human being of the future who will be in the future workforce, in the future workplace, as where there will be robots and machines doing most of the current repetitive tasks. That's what I would put.
Wow. We need to stop flying blind. Have you heard? Hi. Hello. Hi. Yani that part for the blind, you have just decided we are not participating.
Sorry.
All right. So I allow me to now jump to Mary. Mary, by the way, happy Africa Month. Do you know it's Africa Month? Yes. Do you know it's Africa Month? Yes. So happy Africa Month. Thank you. Thank you. So now tell that to your neighbor. You can high five them, Jamini. You just wake them up. You know they wake up too early. Happy Africa Month. All right. It's Happy Africa Month. And the official day is actually 25th of May. So please do something, even if it's just putting an African ribbon and the tie pocket. The pocket what? pocket handkerchief that's African on 25th of May, just to celebrate Africa. So Mary, you are one of the few African content creators that we have. So how do you see the competition with the big names in the global market, the likes of Marshall Goldsmith and Bryn Brown and all the others? How do you see that going?
I think the answer to that is purely context. So, of course, different society decode information differently. Or, I mean, for example, a subject on leadership. I've read Bren a lot, and sometimes I almost cannot relate to her because of the examples that she will quote. So I do not think there's any competition. I think our context is pretty unique. Africa has a very young populace as we speak. Our organizations are quite different, both in governance, in the talent that we attract, etc. So I actually do believe we have quite rich content, a lot of unexplored subjects, and I think Madam Kresha also referred to not borrowing too much, and trying to create our own narratives. And we could actually be the people who start the trends instead of receiving the trends moving forward. So I do not actually see any challenge. I think our context is good enough to grow our writing and our material.
Please tell us, challenge accepted? Start there? Start there? Yes, instead of receiving trends. All right, so Madam Kresha, you are a regulator, or you represent a regulator. What challenges do you think being addressed by the creation of local content, and how do we ensure that we are designing the very best in terms of content and delivery?
Thank you, Grace. Before I answer that question, let me just follow up on what David has said there. I'm glad that you, both yourself and your chair, said you are providing solutions. And let me just share an experience. And I worked for countries whereby access was limited, for especially those people who could impart knowledge. And at the time, when you talked about access, internet was not accessible to some places. It's not Kenya. It was Yemen, Somalia, and South Sudan. So what I will do before I travel, I will call the photographer with his videos, record the content of now, let's say, Vicky, that if you are going to present, because I've mentioned those countries deliberately because in terms of access, there's some people who are high risk to travel, but it was easy for me to go down. So when I finish my session, then I'll play Vicky's session on project management, data collection, and I will walk around with flash disk. So that just shows you should not be limited, but about what is accessible. And right now I know the USSD, there's offline content, you don't need just the internet. So it's about how far are you willing to go. And trust me, the time I'm talking about is between 2007, 2008. It was possible then. We have evolved. So that's why I thought that was important to share. And this is to the HR professionals. You have no idea, but you are the power within your organizations. So don't just limit yourself. Now let me come back to regulation. COVID happened. We were all used to, like, you go to universities, you've not done your hours, whether you're at Strathmore, whether you're at University of Nairobi, they're always looking at how many hours have you put in person. Now for those of us who are in Garissa, Mandera, Turkana, Malaba, before these satellite colleges started, the only place education could be found was Nairobi. So now COVID came, we could not move, and everyone had solution, and that solution was online. So now we had to regulate in terms of, now I want to speak from the larger government before I come to HR, we had to regulate, and TVET were tasked to come up with a legal framework on what they call online and distant learning legal framework, which, by the way, if you're providing an online content in Kenya, you must align with them. That is key. Number one is about being compliant. Number 2 is data protection. Because remember, while I'm interacting with your content, I'm also providing my data. So how safe is my data with you? So if you're not registered with if you're not aligned with the Data Protection Act, then you might find yourself in trouble. And then number 2, you've mentioned about the content. And that's where now I want to zero it down to HR and our regulations. We have the Act and also we have regulations that allowed us to make sure that that Act is enabled. We may not, especially for the benefit of the non-HRs in the House, it's one thing having a policy or an Act or even the Constitution, is another thing cascading it down through regulations and policy frameworks. That is key. Because if you have a document somewhere, it's 100 pages and you've not broken it down for me, then it becomes difficult. So we have regulations. How we regulate, now when COVID came, we came up with an online policy to support those who are doing the continuous professional development learning, and we came up with criteria. And the key was, who is your content creator? Now let me get out of the HR. If you're engaging a lawyer, because remember, professions should have 3 things. And I want to talk about the profession, because people confuse practice with profession. Profession, are you regulated? Is that a regulated profession? Is there a code of conduct that bonds you? Is there continuous professional learning? 1, are you in good standing with your practicing certificate? So we look at who is your content creator in that market. Are they subscribing? Because Vicky, there is no interest for you to claim yourself that I'm an industry leader while you don't even respect the code of conduct of the profession that regulates you. Okay? So that you have to look out for who are you bringing, because it's also about your name, a brand. And make sure you try for that. It's not about, I attended an event recently and the president said, what is popular may not be right, and what is right may not be popular. So if you're not aligned and you're not bringing Koresha here is going to bring me issues, then the role number 1 is protect your brand, and that's why we exist, to regulate and ensure that you're bringing people who meet those standards. So please look out for that. If you're engaging, especially the regulated professions, the lawyers, the accountants, HR, the procurement, that is key. Number 2, avoid people who will, when I came to IHRM, and I'm glad Grace is here, she creates content for us. I told her, Grace, I'm not going to ask people to come and invest into a program if someone will come and bring copy-pasted data from Google. So before every event, and Irene can attest to that, I will bring together all the presenters in one Zoom call for everyone to take us through what is it that you're going to tell the 1,000 delegates whom you're going to meet 2 weeks from now. And then we do cross-knowledge. If Vicky picks there's something Grace missed out in her presentation, she will include. But the point I was driving is, I don't want to tell Vicky your presentation was PowerPoint. I think I've seen Obama do this or that. It's about, yes, learn, research, but how do you localize that content and make it African? She mentioned, Mary said, Africa is a young population. And this is something also, so I want to tell you, you've seen Harvard School yesterday with the president. While Stratford takes us to the US, Germany, Singapore, and London, now we're seeing more international universities to come and actually learn from us. And that tells you a lot. I met an African leader recently and he told me, you do not win a game for the football lovers. You cannot win a game if you don't have the best players. Okay? Our best talent right now is abroad. And the only way we can bring them back is to show them that it's possible. Koresha is doing, David is doing, Grace is doing, Mary is doing. So why not come back and impact your country, which needs you more. Thank you.
Wow. It's a good morning, isn't it?
I want to open the floor. Rose Ogalo, if you can hear me, please come and help us to roll the mics. Rose, are you with us? From Profiles? Or Chris? I can see Chris outside. Chris? Eh? Not Chris Otulo. Chris from Profiles. Media man. Nick, meet your Chris up. Tafadhali. I think it's somewhere outside. Alright. So are we ready with questions for the panelists? And these questions also include Vicky. If you want to understand Crossknowledge or Profiles Academy, you know somebody might have content ready to upload. So the questions also include Vicky. So Irene, thank you for helping out. Irene is very good support system. She's a journalist by training. So thank you. Yes, questions. If you can direct the question to the panelists who'd like to answer.
Thank you. I think my question is to Vicky. My name is Pamela from ICA Lion. You've shown us what Crossknowledge is happening in the world of Crossknowledge. We have a whole university, not university, but an academy that is dedicated to learning and development and HR professionals, just to see what the trends are and what's happening. And I don't know whether I should say this, we have a course by Josh Bassing on learning and development, which we are also giving to people who would like to know more about, not just Crossknowledge, but the entire learning and development landscape. Yes.
There's a question behind you.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, for me, it's just a challenge to the Crossknowledge Academy on this aspect of you need to think of us who are not youth anymore and who are transitioning out of formal employment. In that my dad is 90 years old. He's still very strong. He doesn't use a walking stick. He still goes to the farm. And I think there's one person who knows him around. There was Okwemba. Yes, Okwemba knows him. He has met him just this year, so he knows him. So I was wondering, if we're going to live to 90 like my dad, very strong, and we are retiring at 55, at 60, how is Crossknowledge going to help us? Because we're living, and the ones who are coming, we leave work for them, they'll have work, and they'll sort themselves out. But this whole population who are going to live for the next 40, 50 years, how can we benefit from this to be able to sustain the economy? Because again, we use that wrong word, retirement. We ought not to be retiring. We just need to be moving from one phase of productivity to another phase. So how can we help ourselves first before we can even talk a lot about the younger generation? Thank you.
I want to refer to a good friend who's actually in this room, who talks about the value in purpose, health, and he talks about as we grow older, also aligning our time to things of impact. And I remember one thing I borrowed from him is that what do you give? So what do you choose to give? Because you have a lot to give. Then what do you choose to do actively to keep yourself alive and everything? And did you say, what do you choose to work? The last part I'm not sure. Yeah. So I think the space, that is our space. Because we must accept that we evolve, yeah, and we grow. And our role in society changes. And just looking at the you're calling us the old ones, playing our part. And it will benefit greatly the populace that we're talking about, our young nation, because there are many. I don't think, unless there's a catastrophe, knock on wood, our population is reducing, it's growing. And so every single one of us will have something or someone to impact to. Thank you.
Thanks, Vicky, and congratulations for the launch. My question again comes to you and other people who are developing digital learning content. I think we've talked about, especially in our country, our focus on manufacturing sector, trying to add value what we're producing as an agricultural economy. My challenge has been the content that we are producing seems not to address the same thing that Mary was mentioning. Mary mentioned retail. I'm more keen on the manufacturing angle and making sure we can get these people really involved, because it always seems like the people who are in the offices would benefit from digital content, but if I'm on a shop floor and I'm working there, how do I get that benefit? So it's something that I'm struggling with personally. I mean, like in my own organization, getting the rightful content and also making it easy for these people who are doing a shift setup to learn, to be able to apply. And so I know there is this thing around you can develop your own content and put it online, but it's just that focus and the attention to say, how do we design the platforms to enable those people who are working in such setups to benefit? That's the question, the challenge.
Correct. I'm not the one who does L&D. Lillian there is the L&D guru in Naivas, but I can take her credit, right? Yeah. So I can talk as if I'm the one who does it. So like I said, first we rely heavily on our SMEs. So most of our employees, I mean the business has been around for 33 years, so we've got about 20-year-old experience on retail from a number of people, about 7% of our staff. So we use these people to actually come up with the content, and then Lillian there makes it look beautiful, especially for the young people, because the young people have very short span of attention. They want data presented in a particular way, information presented in a particular way. We are also largely dispersed in Kenya, so we use largely the TOT model, which is of course offline, not digital, but we allow them to use, because our average age at Naivas is 26 years now. Okay, especially if you remove me and the deed goes in and low. Okay, so it's quite young, and they're all using their USSD, the smartphones and the feature phones, and we use short assessments. We send short assessments to them on these little gadgets. Of course, we also have a policy about don't use your phone because we don't want them TikToking. So it's quite complicated, but you find an in-between that allows you to pass the information. We also allow them to do skits and then place them on the internal WhatsApp. Actually, we find that this is the way it sticks. Learning sticks more when they are the ones creating content on what they have actually learned. Actually, I find it very, very interesting. So we don't really have to have them on laptops and things like that. We just have them to want to showcase themselves and whatever they have learned. So our work is to ensure they have the right information. Then we ask them to reproduce it in skits and things like this.
Wow. So yes, we can have the last question. You have a question?
Good morning, and thank you for the opportunity. Well, I'm listening to a lot about learning digital platforms, and as the e-learning institute, we develop a lot of online programs for the public service. But one of the things that we're very careful about is the completion rate. Because for digital programs, especially online programs, even if you check statistics, it usually is 40%, or if you take it really high, it can go up to 60%. So as much as we are putting a lot of content online and saying, let it go digital, let it go digital, I'm just wondering, what are you doing to ensure that the completion rate is high? And even with the younger people who we are saying are very good for online, their concentration span is very short. And getting programs that can keep them engaged continuously is very difficult. And it has been a constant challenge, even for us in the Kenyan market. So what are we doing to make sure that the content keeps them and that the completion rate is actually higher and the courses end up being, should I say, impactful and successful to deliver?
Let me start on that. Thank you so much. I think I was how many of you subscribe to Udemy? It has so many free forums, yeah? There's someone who created a meme of someone who bited Apple, akawacha nusu ingine, then there's a whole line of it. I want to speak from experience that I did an online course with one of the universities abroad. And these are short courses. So one of the ways you can actually control that there is a succession rate is to put a limit, depending on how many hours they were supposed to put, okay? And I think that Odell directs that. If you were to finish, let's say, this course within a year, we will only give you a grace period of just maybe 3 more months, depending on your excuse, for you to complete it. Because remember now, we have legal frameworks, but we don't have any guidance. So it's up to you to come up with those strategies. That is one way. Number 2 is not to allow someone to start running no more than 3 courses. And I want, so that I don't miss the exact words that Vicky used, is what is it that you're doing and at the point of need. So that is also key. And then do not allow, so if it's content, and I'm honored to have interacted with Crossknowledge and allow me to steal this. There is no way you will move to the next step if you've not completed the first one. So it's just about creating that culture, and I love it because someone within Profiles who always reminds us, Croatia, you have 40% rate, and when you are 10 of us, and I'm the only one 40%, trust me, the next time that report will be shared, I want to be here. And they post it. It shows. So you just have to be creative around it. And it's not because unamulika watu, but it's because, but one thing that, especially if it's your own content, please do not allow anyone to start a course, more than 3 courses at any given time, and put a timeline. If someone passes that time, then they'll have to start afresh. It's not being punitive, it's about making value and for them to realize that there's a reason why they came for this solution. It's not for them to start and stop. It's for them to stop. I mean, finish and impact. The key word here is impact. Thank you.
Okay, so I would like to just add something to that. I think when I started the conversation, I said that your learners are your clients. So there is a lot of data there in terms of why are the courses not being completed, what's the main inhibitor, and one of the basis of the technological developments that has happened in Crossknowledge is getting that data and really understanding how that learner journey needs to be for them to keep engaged. So there are many things nowadays. I guess everyone here who's in L&D knows about gamification. Duolingo, the other day was talking about Duolingo. They were talking about what makes their courses popular is those streaks. You don't want to break the streak. The other thing is the social integration, so that you're commenting on someone's learning, how she's feeling bad because she's been liquid by her cohort at 40%. So the society is one that's pushing you to actually do those courses. And then I think for larger organizations, it's moving away from mass. It's moving away from mass access of courses and really saying what do we want to see as a return on investment for an outcome. That way, you're not just, because when you enter into a sea, there's a friend of mine who says, getting content is like walking into a nudist camp when you're a mosquito. There it goes. You don't know where to start. So it's the same thing. Why not focus your learning? Because your learners are learning. They're actually going out of their way and they're looking for content, wherever it is, and they're learning. Yeah? So what is it that you're not doing? And that's a good question to start asking ourselves. Thank you.
I think from practice perspective, I know that's the stick, HR is a stick, but we are also rewarding it in learners. So we've practically become a learning organization because of it. So we have a bonus scheme, and one of the parameters is actually learning. So we find that the uptake is quite high because everyone wants to have a green on the learning and development aspect. But gamification for us also has sapped because again, young populace, and also we've tried to make sure that the content is, in fact, we have the training approval that actually asks you what is the behavior we expect after this training, what is the benefit, whether it's bottom line or cultural. So then the culture is really one of learning more than you must do it. It's really almost a way of learning function.
All right.
Actually, I think one of the things I was going to talk about has been mentioned. But at some point I mentioned that one of the opportunities is to slice and dice those learning solutions into learning bites. Because it's much easier if you know that every time I get onto my app, I'm learning something which I can put to use. And I think that really is a key driver or incentive for people to continuously go the extra mile. But I think somebody talked about it, and it was about defining desired outcomes from a learning solution. Because if it's for learning for the sake of learning, there's no incentive for anybody to finish that course. But if it's linked to desired performance outcomes, and people know that you're recognized for that superior performance, I think it becomes a very good incentive. But what I've learned in my workplace has been the young generation loves to learn together. Peer coaching, collaborative learning, even online, is absolutely brilliant, especially when they compare notes on what's new, what is that brilliance that has come through the course they went through. And they compare notes and they see who is actually outdoing the others out of the learning. So I think the couple of creative ideas that can come through, but I think a lot of ground has been covered from that space. Thank you.
Thank you. So I think we are ready for parting shots. What is your parting shot?
Well, again, just repeat where I started. Let's make learning a lifestyle, not an intervention.
Wow. Tweetable, quotable tweets. All right, Kuresha. Thank you.
Mine is Can I pass it? I want you to be there and I say whatever I have to say.
I think embracing learning for all of us, of course, come on.
What is it that I can do to make sure that the country benefits? And I am so glad that she's been working towards it until this journey. And to the HR professionals in the room, this is your call. It's time for you guys to turn your organizations into that learning organizations. Don't wait for any curriculum to come. Actually, the content you create, you can go to KICD and tell them, this is my content and now I want it to make it a curriculum for certain profession. And trust me, they will receive you as long as you have the resources. My parting shot, which should excite all of you, this should not just stay in this room. Please call Crossknowledge. And this, I'm passionate about it because I want this to be felt from Malaba to Moyale. I like to use that because we sometimes forget life is just in Nairobi. Malaba to Moyale, Turkana to Takaba. The solution is here and it's in Crossknowledge. And they're actually compliant. So for every course, if it's aligned to HR, Vicky will be applying for CPD and it will tell you how many hours you need to put for you to get your learning hours to help you renew your practicing certificate later, especially within the HR industry. Thank you so much.
A better clap for our panelists. Alright, so I will request that we can all stand and go to the photo booth. Of course, request Mr. Mohammed to join us. I think Vicky has walked out. Not all of us, the panelists, sorry. The group photo coming shortly, just in a bit. But we want to appreciate the panelists and also just take a photo with them, with profiles. Somebody find me Vicky. Vicky Karonga, where are you? Yeah, but it's fine. I think they're well represented. Oh, here she is. Thank you, madam. And you can pass on the package from, yes, please. All right. So that's happening. Have we learned something? Yes. Hello, have we learned something? Yes. Have you taken something that you can implement? All right. So as you take your photo, Vicky, there's a package for the panelists. If you can hand over. can't, we want to listen to the video from Mary Mkindia. She sent her love to us this morning. She was meant to be here, but something came up. I want those gifts done, and you come back to, we're all waiting for you. Yes. And in the meantime, you can be discussing what you have learned. Just discuss what you have learned. You have said you have learned. Knowledge sharing. Yes, as you cross knowledge. Then we'll get to listen to Mary Mkindia shortly. So thank you, our panelists, for sharing your knowledge. Thank you, David. Thank you very much. And thank you, Mary, for also sharing your knowledge and wisdom, and just for being here. Asante sana. So thank you, thank you, thank you. Yes, we can take our seats. Okay, so Vicky, we can take our seats and we listen to what Mary had to tell us. Yes, you can play.
Good morning, everybody. My name is Mary Mkindia, and it is my absolute pleasure to congratulate my dear friend Kamuda on the launch of the Focus International Crossknowledge launch. This is a momentous occasion, and I'm really thrilled to be part of it. Vicky, I've just looked for my book and I found it. We met one of our sessions very early on, 18 May 2022. We were looking at all the things that you wanted to do. And I've written it down. It says, we were looking for a name for exponential growth goal that you had for your business. And we came up with two visions: to be the premier academy for business training in at least 10 countries, of the 16th in your franchise that you have from Crossknowledge widely. And the second one, our 20s, was also to be the premier academy for organizational training in at least 10 countries out of the 16 in the franchise. And it's just, I really have had the privilege of witnessing you and your dedication and passion for creating this incredible platform. And if you recall, Vicky, we talked about the types of training, and we're looking for a couple of words that could be used to describe the kind of work that you do. And the work was done by Focus International. And I must say we had almost 12 different things that you do, but the ones with the highest score, number one was people development, number two was leadership development, and then we had three types of that, which is people transformation, soft skills, and expertise building. And this is exactly what this platform did. For me, I think your vision of providing African news corporate learning material through the Crossknowledge platform has now come to life. From when you started voicing this desire to me in 2021 in May, and to really see that come to life is really very truly inspiring. You are a pioneer in digital adult learning, and I think I really believe you're leading the way in what is a rapidly growing market. And I hear it's estimated to reach $320 billion by next year, between 2025, perhaps a little bit beyond. And research shows that culturally relevant material significantly enhances outcomes. And therefore, having African corporate material that has been a gap in the market, that allows us to see ourselves in the videos to our content that is unique and relevant to our experience, is really going to make your mission much more critical. For too long, training courses have lacked relatability for African professions, often failing to speak to our unique experiences and feature African individuals. This Profiles International Academy addresses this gap and offering content that truly resonates with us and meets our specific needs. I'm especially proud of you, Vicky, and I'm proud to be part of this journey as your friend and as also a coach that you trained, an emotional intelligence practitioner, as well as a trainer with you, and you open a whole new world for me. And I really, seeing a dream that you voiced over 2 years ago come to fruition is nothing short of remarkable. Congratulations once again, my friend. I have no doubt that the Focus Academy will be a tremendous success, and yes to more achievements and milestones in the future. Warmest wishes to you on this day, Thursday, 16th of May, 2024. Well done.
So she's watching us. Thank you very much, Mary. And we appreciate you, and I'm sure Vicky feels you. So allow me to invite Stella to give a vote of thanks, and then for us to go for round 2 of breakfast. It was supposed to be brunch. Put your hands together for Stella from Crossknowledge.
Thank you, Grace. Okay, so ladies and gentlemen, good morning. As we bring our exciting product launch event to a close, it is with immense gratitude and joy that I stand before you today. This morning marks the culmination of months of hard work, collaboration, and relentless dedication. On behalf of our entire team, I extend my heartfelt thanks to all of you for being here to celebrate this milestone with us. First and foremost, I would like to thank our esteemed guests. Your presence here today means a lot to us, and we are honored to have you join us in celebrating this significant occasion. Your support and encouragement are greatly appreciated, and we are thrilled to share this moment with you. I would also like to extend our deepest gratitude to our partners, that is the Institute of Human Resource Management, Crossknowledge, John Wiley & Sons, Impact Leadership Academy from Tanzania, the Kenya School of Government, Uongozi Institute from Tanzania as well, Atara Solutions, and last but not least, the generous practitioner community for their unwavering support and confidence in our vision. Your belief in our potential has been a driving force behind our efforts, and we are deeply grateful for your encouragement and partnership. To our valued customers, the Cooperative Bank, WPP Scanad, Public Image, KCB Bank, Total Energy, PVH, ICA Lion, AP Insurance, Naivas Limited, Space and Style, Workforce Africa, Rose Avenue Consulting Group, and all others who couldn't make it here. Thank you for your continued loyalty and trust. Your feedback and support have been instrumental in shaping our product to meet your needs and expectations. We are committed to delivering excellence, and your satisfaction remains our top priority. I would also like to go ahead, and we look forward to continuing this journey together.